The second half of the 20th century is essentially the story of two men, Elvis Presley, the boy who dared to rock, and Jack Nicklaus, whose combination of power and precision set records on the PGA Tour that may never be broken. Many believe that these two towering figures met in the years before their explosion onto the world stage and teamed up in a series of exciting adventures. The first and best known of these, the bullet hole.
I don't like it, Mr. Phillips. I'm just your head golf pro, but I don't think we should let this Nicklaus kid play in our tournament.
What's the problem, Don? I hear that big round boy hits that little round ball a country mile.
It'll look bad putting that much pressure on a teenager.
It'll also look bad if that teenager beats you. That's your real worry now, ain't it, Don? No, Nicklaus plays. And wait till you see the young man I hired to perform at the awards banquet. He had an odd name. What was it? Oh, yeah, Presley. Elvis Presley.
I'm a-moving down the highway, driving all night long. Gonna watch me some golfing, gonna sing me a song.
Hey there, son. This where they're holding the golf tournament?
Sure is.
Man, that thing has wings.
Say, you're Elvis Presley. You performed last month in my hometown of Columbus, Ohio. I'm Jack Nicklaus.
Nice to meet you, Jack. How do you hit them balls so far?
Same way you make those young girls scream, Elvis. I put my hips into it.
Mind if I try? Oh, man. How about from now on I stick to singing?
And I'll stick to golf.
That was a gunshot. Whoever this golf club belongs to doesn't want you to play in the tournament tomorrow, Jack.
It'll take a lot more than this to stop me. I'm playing.
And I'll be right there with you.
If Nicklaus makes this putt, he wins the tournament. That portly youngster has nerves of steel.
The announcer doesn't know how true that is.
Of course. Elvis, watch out!
Hey-ya! As soon as I heard the savage, untamed rhythm of Elvis's music, I knew it was a threat to our genteel southern way of life. I brought him here so I could put a stop to it, permanently.
So that bullet yesterday was meant for me.
All I could see from that distance was a man holding a guitar. I assumed it was Elvis.
I don't think Elvis will ever be this chubby.
Only one thing I can't figure, Jack. How'd you know it was Mr. Phillips?
Simple, Elvis. The club we found in the bushes was for a left-handed golfer. When I saw Phillips holding a mint julep in that hand, everything clicked into place.
Well, I may be the teddy bear, but you're the golden bear.
Golden Bear. Sounds like you got a new nickname, Jack.
We'll see if it sticks. So long, everybody.
You know, Mr. Taylor, I wouldn't be surprised if that young man made a name for himself someday.
Neither would I, Elvis. Neither would I.
The second half of the 20th century is essentially the story of two men, Elvis Presley, the boy who dared to rock, and Jack Nicklaus, whose combination of power and precision set records on the PGA Tour that may never be broken. Many believe that these two towering figures met in the years before their explosion onto the world stage and teamed up in a series of exciting adventures. Tonight's episode, Twin Killing.
Help! We've been robbed by a smoldering hillbilly cat with sideburns and a pompadour!
His upper lip was curled into a suggestive pouty sneer, and his lower body movement seemed controlled by an untamed rockabilly beat.
He looked like that kid singer my daughter likes. What's his name? Oh, yes, Presley. Elvis Presley.
Well, this is bad, Mama.
I've done some checking, Elvis. Each of the businesses that was robbed is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Global Services Unlimited Corporation.
I'm not too welcome in places like this, but I know someone who is.
Jack, if you hadn't called that two-stroke penalty on yourself, you would have set a new course record. No one saw your ball move.
I saw it, Charlie.
Phone call, Mr. Nicklaus.
Hello?
Jack, it's Elvis. I don't know if you saw the papers, but...
I saw them, Elvis. What can I do to help?
I figured you'd say that.
It's an honor to host one of our country's top amateur golfers here at the Global Services Unlimited private golf course.
So, tell me about your company.
It's run by a very mysterious figure. He lives on the top floor of corporate headquarters. No one's ever seen him.
Elvis, I've got a hunch the answer to your problem is in that building.
But it's over 300 yards away.
That's why I brought this.
Now, if we can just find an opening. We're trapped at the bottom of some kind of cylinder.
Now I know how a golf ball feels.
Hey, somebody's coming.
Am I seeing double?
It's like looking in a mirror.
Well, Elvis, aren't you going to say hello to your twin brother?
Jesse Guerin, but you died at birth.
That's what they wanted you to believe. Actually, for reasons too complicated to explain, I was taken away and raised by wealthy parents. But when I heard your voice on the radio, I knew instantly that even with all my money, you would have a greater impact on the world.
So you set out to tarnish my good name by robbing from yourself.
Don't sound so surprised, Elvis. I'm sure your friend, the golfer, understands the need to win at all costs.
I believe in honest competition, Jesse. That means doing my best within the rules.
An admirable thought, Mr. Nicklaus. Pity it will be your last. Good day, gentlemen. It's been a gas.
This is it, Elvis. The 19th hole.
Maybe not, Jack.
Oh, sole mio, stand pronto.
One thing I can't figure, Jack. How'd you know Elvis was innocent?
Somebody who's as good to his mother as Elvis breaking the law? It just didn't add up.
Speaking of mamas, I better get home to mine. So long, Jack.
Goodbye, Elvis. I never thought a rock and roll singer could sustain a high note like that. I wouldn't be surprised if someday Elvis branched out into Neapolitan love songs and Hawaiian wedding ballads.
Neither would I, Jack. Neither would I.
The second half of the 20th century is essentially the story of two men. Elvis Presley, the boy who dared to rock, and Jack Nicklaus, whose combination of power and precision set records on the PGA Tour that may never be broken. Many believe that these two towering figures met in the years before their explosion onto the world stage and teamed up in a series of exciting adventures. Tonight's episode, the greatest mystery, is love.
What a stroke! Jack's a cinch to win the tournament.
Sure looks that way, buddy.
What happened? Did Jack get a case of the yips?
Something a whole lot worse.
For the next 72 hours, Jack Nicklaus played golf by day. And an entirely different game by night.
I love you truly, truly, dear. Nice playing, Jack. You're 8 strokes ahead with only 1 round to go.
Can I let you in on a secret, Elvis? If my lead holds up, right after the tournament, I'm going to ask Barbara to marry me.
Something tells me you're going to be a double winner tomorrow.
Yep, everything's going my way. Jeepers!
Almost everything.
Are you sure you want to take my place, Elvis? Even with an 8-shot lead, you've never played golf before.
If the coward who wrote that message sees you out on the course, he'll think the coast is clear. It's our only chance to catch you.
If we don't shut that window, we'll both catch a cold.
As he prepares to play the final hole, Nicklaus's seemingly insurmountable lead is down to 1. The Ohio strong boy is not himself today.
What's wrong, Jack? You've never played like this before.
Just one of those days, buddy. And I thought singing in front of a crowd was pressure. I sure hope Jack's having more luck than me.
It opens easier if you give it a little whack.
Nicklaus has put his approach in a bunker. He must get up and down to force a playoff.
Remember, Jack, you and Barbara need that first prize money to start a life together.
Must concentrate. Can't let Jack down.
It's in! Nicklaus has won the tournament!
You're not Jack Nicklaus.
That's right. I am.
I was jealous. All that golfing talent, and then Barbara, too. So I made a robot replica of myself to caddy for Jack while I defaced his locker.
You better hope that robot can break rocks.
You'll be breaking plenty where you're going.
Only one thing I can't figure, Barbara. How'd you know I wasn't Jack?
No offense, Elvis, but when I kissed you, I didn't feel anything.
A young girl not thrilling to the kiss of Elvis Presley? Well, that's crazy.
No, sir. That's love.
Well, we don't usually approve of one golfer disguising himself as another, but I think this time we can make an exception.
Thanks for all your help, Elvis. I think I can take it from here.
A good performer knows when to get off the stage, Jack. You know, sir, with a woman like that behind him, I wouldn't be surprised if someday that boy surpassed Bobby Jones' record of 13 major championships.
Neither would I, Elvis. Neither would I.
The second half of the 20th century is essentially the story of two men. Elvis Presley, the boy who dared to rock, and Jack Nicklaus, whose combination of power and precision set records on the PGA Tour that may never be broken. Everyone knows that these two met as young men and joined forces in a series of exciting adventures. But there was also a third member of the team, another figure destined to cast a long shadow across the pages of history. Find out who it is in tonight's episode, The Pluribus Murder.
You're making that driver sing today, Jack. I didn't mean it literally.
That can only be one person. What's up, Elvis?
Jack, I'm performing next week in Washington, D.C. How'd you like to join me?
Our nation's capital? I'm there.
This is a mighty special moment for a sharecropper's son from Tupelo.
And a pharmacist's son from Columbus.
And a rum runner's son from Boston. I don't believe I've ever heard our nation's core values expressed quite so movingly. I'm Senator John F. Kennedy.
A senator? You're just a few years older than us.
Well, my daddy bought bootleg whiskey from your father. I'm Elvis Presley, and this is...
Oh, I recognize one of our country's top junior golfers. You know, I'm quite a linksman myself. Just the other day, I shot a ship... What the...
Whoever emancipated this head was taking aim at you, Senator Kennedy.
Dead aim.
It'll take a lot more than that to kill me. I'm planning to go off to the presidency in 1960. This attack could have come from someone who wants the same thing.
Then I guess the leading suspect would be Vice President Nicklaus.
A rock with a note attached.
What's it say?
Meet me across the street from the White House at midnight.
That's a dangerous neighborhood. Now, what do you say, John?
The same thing I said when a Japanese destroyer ran PT-109. Let's get out of here.
Want a date, handsome?
For God's sake, woman, don't you see this ring? Are you actually suggesting that I be unfaithful to my wife?
John, it's me, man.
Elvis?
That's Jack over there. But we'll be ready if anybody...
There he goes!
He's getting away.
Maybe not.
Now let's see who this unknown soldier is.
President Eisenhower?
I wanted to be history's most proficient golfing president, but if Kennedy were elected, that title would fall to him.
And we thought Nixon was a crook.
I call that funny.
Only one thing I can't figure, Jack. How'd you get the ball to curve like that?
Simple, Elvis. To bend the ball around a tree or national monument, just take your normal stance. Then open the club face to apply left to right side spin.
That was a magic golf ball.
That's all for this week, folks. Be good to your mama.
And remember, the last four letters of American spell I can.
Elvis and Jack Nicklaus, it may sound ridiculous. They were once as close as friends could be. The evildoers best beware. The hillbilly cat and the golden bear are teaming up to solve the mystery. The young Jack and the teenage king, one could putt and one could sing. They're on the trail from Pebble Beach to Memphis, Tennessee. Elvis and the Golden Bear, loving hard and playing fair. Maybe they're a lot like you and me.